If you plan to stay, could you please take a seat and we'll start this next ceremony, which we hope will go beyond like 20 minutes. So if we start now, we can end faster, obviously. First, I would like to thank, on behalf of the Hopewell chapter, Tyler and members of session who approved our being here today to do this ceremony. We also actually hold our chapter meetings here, so this church is very helpful to us and very good at backing the things that we do. I'd like to make a couple of introductions as well. Our regent for the chapter, Donna Vanover, is here with us today. I also have, thank you, Donna. I also have to introduce to you two ladies that will be doing actually all the work. Jan Malk is the organizing regent for this chapter, and she will be pinning the gentlemen who come up to be pinned. And Roberta Staggy is our vice regent, and she also has done very much to prepare for this today. I also would like to recognize Jan's husband, John, who will be our official photographer. So you will see John running around with a camera through the event. And I am Charlene Silvas, and I was, for some reason, selected to be chair of this event. The Hopewell chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution, is honored to be designated as a commemorative partner designed by the Department of Defense for federal, state, and local communities, veterans organizations, and other non-governmental organizations to assist a grateful nation in thanking and honoring our Vietnam veterans and their families. And in order to do that, I want you to watch on the screen. We have a little 5-minute film which will help you understand perhaps some of these concepts. So can you begin the film, please?
9 million Americans served during the period of the Vietnam War. They represented 10% of their generation. 6 million of them were volunteers. They were the oldest and best educated force America ever sent into harm's way. 97% would be honorably discharged. And today, the vast majority of them testify with their actions and their words that they are proud of their service and would serve again if called. November 14th, 1965, 10:48 a.m. Elements of the 7th Cavalry touched down at Landing Zone X-Ray. Within 30 minutes, the Battle of the Ai Drang began, the first major battle fought by the American Army in Vietnam. Over 3 harrowing days, vastly outnumbered American forces would hold out and ultimately repel enemy forces. American forces would never lose a major engagement during the ensuing 8 years of combat operations. Known as the Wall, the Vietnam Memorial stands in honor of those who served in the Vietnam War. The names of the men and women who gave their lives are inscribed in the order they were taken from us. 58,286 names. The youngest was Marine Private First Class Dan Bullock at 15 years of age, and the oldest was Navy Petty Officer First Class Kenna Taylor at 62. There are 3 sets of fathers and sons, 1 set of stepbrothers, 39 pairs of brothers, 8 women, 16 clergy, and 155 Medal of Honor recipients. And let us not forget, there are still more than 1,600 missing and unaccounted for personnel. The French were in Vietnam before the Americans and lost more than 70,000 lives. More than 400,000 Allied troops served with the American forces. Joining as allies with the United States were the Republic of Korea, Thailand, the Republic of the Philippines, Australia, and New Zealand. These allies suffered more than 5,000 lives lost during the course of the war. American combat forces left Vietnam in 1973. 2 years later, Saigon fell. Over those last 2 years, without American and Allied combat forces in the region, casualties in Southeast Asia were doubled what they had been during the 10 years prior. To our Vietnam veterans who answered the nation's call to serve, we thank you. Your greatness is etched in history from the battlefields of Southeast Asia to the neighborhoods of hometown America, where you continue to bring blessings and inspiration to your families and your country today. To the families of our Vietnam veterans, we thank you for the greatness of your support, sacrifice, vigilance, and compassion. And to our allies who stood by us 50 years ago, we thank you. The greatness that was earned by this generation never left you, and it never will.
Perhaps the lights can be brought back. Thank you. Lapel pins have been provided to commemorative partners for public presentations to U.S. military veterans living at home or abroad who served during the Vietnam War period as a lasting memento of the nation's thanks. Living U.S. veterans who served on active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces at any time during the period of November the 1st, 1955 to May 15, 1975, regardless of location, are eligible to receive one lapel pin. We make no distinction between veterans who served in country, in theater, or who were stationed elsewhere during the Vietnam War period. All were called to serve. None could self-determine where they were stationed, and all were seen in the same way by a country that could not separate the war from the warrior as we do today. When your name is called, would you please come to the front of the sanctuary? It will be one at a time, and you will receive your pin and your commendation letter, and you can be seated until everyone has finished, and then we will give you recognition. The first person to be called, and he's not going to like that he was the first one, but he was the last one that I had information for, so he went to the top of the line, David Slusher, who was an HM3 hospital medical man with the Navy. So David, can you come up? Next, I'd like to call James Edward Cagle, who was a corporal with the Marines. John Bennett, a captain with the Air Force. Wilfred Smith, petty officer with the Navy. Ron Anthony, Lieutenant Colonel with the Air Force. Denny Britton, Specialist 4th Class with the Army. David Ohm, 2nd Class Gunner's Mate with the Navy. Larry Gundler, Commander with the Navy. Bob Boyd, 1st Lieutenant with the Army. John Edward Kolkmeyer, corporal with the Army. And there's an additional fact about this man that you might want to speak with him about after. He was actually a POW during the war. There are two other gentlemen that have previously been pinned, and as I said before, you can only have one. So I would like Dennis Carlisle to please stand. Dennis was a gunner's mate during the actual war, and afterwards he became a storekeeper first class. He was with the Navy. I don't see my husband anywhere. Oh, he is in the very, very back. He's hiding. Randy Silvas. During the actual war, he was a hospital corpsman who actually served with the Marines. And then after the war, he was in the military for 25 years. He was a chief petty officer with the Navy, but he spent most of his time dealing and working with the Marines. So I would like for us to applaud all of these people. Thank you. Be seated for just a couple of other little notes. Are there any others who were serving during the time of Vietnam that we didn't know about? Is there anyone in the room that we've missed? No one? Okay. Also, if you are the spouse of a deceased veteran, Jan Malk and Roberta Staggy will bring a special pin back to you if you are a spouse of a deceased veteran. Is there anyone here who fits that category? A spouse of a deceased veteran? Oh, there's, okay. Phyllis Peppelmeyer. What rank was your husband, or do you know? No. Don't know, yes. In many cases, people met each other after the war, but oh, he was in a secret position, okay. I still can't tell, all right. Well, thank you for supporting him. And now, lastly, I would ask that if you are a family member of one of these fine gentlemen, very courageous gentlemen, would you please stand and let us recognize you, because you have supported all of these men. The families of the men. All right, you may be seated, and just for a moment, because we are from various backgrounds and beliefs, can we just have a moment of quiet benediction during which we will ask God's guidance for these men and thank Him for their strength and their bravery. Amen. And now it's time for some fun. There's food over there, so adjourn to the reception, please, and be sure you speak with the gentleman. I think they want a picture of you, so maybe you can stand one time. But the rest of you, you can go to the reception, and they'll be joining you shortly.